Well, I've got the top all stripped off, all the mechanism, everything actually came apart quite easily. I was quite pleased about that. And we're going to have a quick look inside the box. I'm going to tip it. This is unscrewed now, so I can take that off. This part unfortunately is broken, but I'm fairly certain I can glue that back together. Maybe put a bit of plywood underneath it to reinforce it. Yeah, so we'll take this top off and we can have a look inside the box. So there you go. That's what it looks like on the inside. Now, there are some loose bits of wood that were floating around inside. I'm sure I can find where they went eventually. This is the hinged compartment. If you remember, underneath part of the bottom was hinged, and this is the hinge compartment. So I reckon that at some stage there was something in here, possibly a clockwork motor or an electric motor, that was used to drive the whole thing. As for the rest of it, well, looking at the wood, let's see, I'll bring you down at a different angle. Yeah, so looking at this, I think you can see these marks here. I think that there was 2 blocks of wood, or possibly 3 blocks of wood, like there is on this side. I think it was exactly the same here, because you've got paint around this part here and there's no paint on that. So I reckon that there were some blocks of wood in there on this side, which was the same as this side. Now, this is obviously the slot where the flywheel goes. I'm not going to really do much to this. I'll probably see if I can take these blocks off and then replicate them with some scrap wood, put it in this side, maybe repaint these because they were obviously painted white at some stage. But that's pretty much all I'm going to do. I might polish these. They look like Meccano discs that are in here. Polish those up a bit, but other than that, I'm not really going to do an awful lot to this. I think that will do for the interior, and like I said, I'm going to do some work on the top. Let's put it back on again. Yeah, I'll glue this piece on, maybe reinforce it under here, and then probably give the top, this piece, a sand down and put some finishing oil on it just to refinish this top part, because it's pretty grubby from age. Obviously this was the original colour of the wood here, but other than that, I think that's what we'll leave. That will be the box done. Well, here's the rest of it. This needs a clean up. I'll probably polish the brass, various different bits of brass plates. These are the cylinders, as you can see, or I should say dummy cylinders. They'll need cleaning up, but no, for the most part, I think, you know, just a general clean. I've got to do something about this. This is the flywheel assembly, and as I said, although the crank turns and everything, the flywheel unfortunately doesn't. I mean, there is some sticks in there, so if you just leave it, the flywheel would turn with the crank, but as you can see, it's not clamped onto the crank at all. So we've got to do something about that. Look into that. But that's where we are at the moment. Well, it may not look like it, but I've actually done quite a bit of work to this. This is obviously the lower box part of this amazing contraption. So what have I done? Well, I've taken all of the woodwork, all of this, I've unscrewed it all, pulled it all out, gone over it using the belt sander, cleaned up all the old paint, and yeah, so it's all loose at the moment. One of the things that it did reveal was that this center section here, this was obviously made from, you know, this is an old Lifebuoy soap wooden crate. Now, it doesn't really help us age the thing, because Lifebuoy soap's been around forever. I think the original stuff was last sold in 2006, but I mean, this is obviously older than that, and I'm fairly certain in 2006 it would have been shipped in cardboard boxes, not wooden crates. So this, you know, is obviously fairly old. But yeah, so like I said, I've cleaned all this up on the belt sander. These were the blocks. Now this is all going to be repainted, because originally this was white, painted white, so I've got to redo that. This middle section here, I ran a router bit down through the slot to clean that up. But yeah, it's all cleaned up okay. You know, there's a few bits and pieces that I've had to repair. I mean, there were certainly in these 2 bits here, there was I put dowel pins in to patch up some holes. But yeah, it's all it's all gone together quite nicely, coming together quite nicely. And then I went through my scrap wood bin and found some blocks of wood, and I was able to make up a duplicate set of blocks for this side, which I'm sure were there because the outline of the paint showed that, or the lack of paint showed that there was definitely wooden blocks in this side as well. So that's all done now. I'm just waiting for some paint that I've ordered to come. I need to paint this. This has all got to be white. These pieces go in here like this. They were on the end there. So yeah, so that's all ready for paint. What else have I done? Oh yeah, this side, let's turn it round. This is the compartment which has the hinged base to it. And this side here, this has got the two holes that are drilled one above the other. Now, this piece of wood here was really badly graunched behind those holes. I don't know whether when they drilled the holes out, the wood burst outwards. They didn't use decent drill bits. I don't know. So I've cut a piece of plywood and just glued it in place over there. That just tidies it up, really. And if I need to use either of those two holes, I can obviously just drill through. So that's that. Right, moving on to the top piece. Now, I've glued this piece back in. This was separate, if you remember. There were lots of splits and cracks that I didn't realise, that particularly around the screw holes in this top piece, and I've glued all those back in, repaired them as best I can. I think it's gonna hold up okay. So the next stage is I'm going to run the detail sander over the top of this and just get all the muck off, basically, and just clean this surface up. And then I'll put some finishing oil on the top piece here. And once that's done and the wooden parts inside are painted white, that will be done. That'll be the base done. I'm not going to do any more to it, and we can move on to the superstructure, the flywheel and the cylinders and so forth. But that's where we are at the moment. Well, some more progress. Got all the woodwork painted white that was originally white inside, and I polished up those. I think they're Meccano, bits of Meccano. Those two brass discs that are in the bottom there. So that hopefully is the inside of the box done. The top's been sanded down and several coats of finishing oil have been put on here, and that's come up quite nicely. I've reinforced it where necessary, and the cylinder and crankshaft support rails have been sanded down and repainted. I've cleaned up all the brass work on here, and I've swapped out what used to be wood screws holding these frames in place, and I've actually changed those for 6BA bolts. Let's change the angle a bit. So this is all looking quite nice now, and hopefully is finished. So now we can get on with the flywheel and the cylinders. They all need the end caps need polishing up, and all the connecting rods and all the rest of it. That's going to be the next stage. But yeah, this is looking okay for now. This is looking good. So like I said, we're getting there.